host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified, and it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, another link just underneath that takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, I'm supporting my son. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm about as happy as I'm floating on there. Of course, they haven't won the title. They haven't won the title since Jesus Christ was walking on earth. So I don't expect them to win the title. But what they did against Penn State, I'm about here, and then like with the Giants season being down here, you know what I mean? It's like total opposites, right? I'm just. You know, they got to the championship game. If they lose, hopefully they don't get killed. But if they got to the champ, I'm as happy as can be. But my son likes Texas, so I was pulling for them. I was kind of hoping for Notre Dame Texas final. But if you saw the game, it was 21-14. Texas had the ball, whatever it was. I don't know, a little over 2 minutes to go or something like that. They got down like the 8 or 9 yard line, something like that, whatever it was, and Ewers gets the snap, and of course the guy, I don't know his name is, from Ohio State, goes against the right tackle of Texas, and of course the right tackle from Texas looks a lot like Evan Neal, so the guy just runs right around the tackle from Texas. It looks just like Evan Neal, just runs right around them, right? And of course it hits Ewers, ball comes out. Scoop and score, 972,000 yards the other way. Touchdown, game over. The dagger, right? So it's 28-14. But the game was a lot closer than the 2 touchdowns. I mean, I said Texas was within like 8 yards or so away of tying the game up. But it is what it is. But so I'm a happy camper being a Giant fan. But anyway. What does Brian Daboll? I came up with this one here all on my own. It's kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, kind of silly, stupid, and all that and everything. But what does he have? And we're gonna go back 100 years, baby. We're going back in time. So if you don't like history, just take a nap, grab a pillow, take a nap. Right? But we're gonna go over every coach the Giants have had in Giants history. But what is Daboll? I mean, this is kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, right? But success. Now, a lot of times, like in the past, a lot of the coaches in the past, the successful Giant coaches in the past, maybe built the team. So they started from the ground up, right? And they worked, and built the team up and got success as they went along. Usually that's the way it happened. Daboll seems to be taking like the opposite approach. He just he had success year one, and he's just driving this Titanic right into the bottom of the abyss, right? But I mean, usually, if you're a good coach, right, you get your team, you start bringing your players in, you teach them and coach them and all of that, and obviously they hopefully like what Campbell's doing with the Lions. If you look at what the hell were they? Were they 3-14? I think the first year. Then they were 9-8, and then they did just go like this, right? Now they only have 2 losses this year, so I'm not sure they'll be able to keep going up like that, But that's what you kind of hope to do, right? And I said, Daboll, he's had success. That was one of the big things that kept him around, right? A couple of years ago, seems like it was about 75 lifetimes ago, but just a couple of years ago, he was the coach of the year, as Mara said. You can't take that away. A couple of years ago, right? With Daniel Jones, not much as far as a whole lot of talent, no salary cap, yada, yada, yada. Of course, we had Saquon. Don't forget about that. But, we went 9-7-1, playoffs, won a playoff game, right? Of course, then we got smoked by the Eagles, right? But, he was successful. Now, if we go all the way back in time to 1925, my dog's underneath me. We start off with Bob Folwell. He was only there for 1 year, 1925. He was successful. He was 8-4. The Giants started off 0-3. They finished the season with an 8-1. They won 7 games in a row. They were 7-4. I'm sorry, 7-3. They lost the second to last game of December 6, 1925, to the Chicago Bears. So they were 7-3. They went to 7-4. Then they won the final game of the season. They finished 8-4. Right. So he was successful, but there was no championship for him or anything like that. But after that, he went to the AFL. They're one of the 332,000 AFLs. We normally pretty much think about the AFLs from the 1960 to 69, right? But the first AFL was in 1926. Bob Folwell jumped to the AFL, and actually, just to go to show you how good of a coach he was, he coached the Philadelphia Quakers in the original AFL in 1926, and they won the championship. So Bob Folwell was a very good coach. The second coach the Giants had was their center, Joe Doc Alexander. He was only there he was their coach for 1926. The problem was with him was he was a doctor, and the Giants had a lot of the practices in the afternoon. Well, one of the problems was being a doctor is that the Doc Alexander was at the hospital a lot, treating patients, and he couldn't get into the practice in the afternoon on time. Sometimes he would miss practices, or he was always showing up late. And the Giants were 8-4-1. They had a very good record, right? But Mr. Mara wanted a little bit more. He wanted some stability there. So Joe Doc Alexander was on the Giants in 27. Okay, but he was not the coach anymore because he could not totally fulfill his duties. So the first 2 seasons, the Giants had 2 coaches, right? The third and fourth season, the Giants had 1 coach, Earl Pottinger, Potteiger, Potteiger, right? He had the best and the worst, right? He had the best because in 27, Giants were 11-1-1. They won their first championship, as we all know, right? What impressed me the most is that in those 13 games, they gave up a grand total of 20 points. 1.5 points per game. Pretty good. But the following season in 27, he had the championship. 28, the Giants had their first losing season, right? 29 and 30, or shall I say 29 and most of 30, I've seen Ray Andrews, Roy Andrews, Leroy Andrews, right? He came from the Kansas City Cowboys. He was the coach for the Giants from 29 and 30. The last 2 games of the 1930 season, he seemed like he got fired. There was like a mutiny going on. The Giants had the I don't want to say the title won, but they lost a couple real close games, and there was some problems, and so they got rid of him. And so Benny Friedman and quite possibly Steve Owen were the interim coaches for the last 2 games. I know Benny Friedman was for the last 2 games in 1930. Right, so first 6 seasons the Giants were around. They had 4 coaches. All right, but one of them was had success, but. After that, now we start talking. All right, now we're talking long term. Now we got obviously Steve Owen from 1931 to 53. Then his first 3 seasons, he had success. 31, no. 32, no. But 33, right? They went to the first ever NFL championship game. Right? To me, call me crazy, call me hitting a crack pipe, whatever. To me, the greatest championship game of all time. I can't sitting there for 10, 15 minutes talking about how good it was. But to me, it was the greatest championship game. They lost by 2 points, 23-21 to the Bears, but it was an unbelievable game. But Steve Owen had success early on. All right. He coached the 1953. So in his third season, he had success. He coached the 53. Then Jim Lee Howell took over, right, for the Giants from 54 to 60. Yeah, 54, 55, 56. Jim Lee Howell had success. 1956. Giants won the championship. They beat the Chicago Bears 47-7. He also took the Giants to the championship game in 58 and 59. He left after the 60 season, unfortunately for the Giants. After the 58 season, Vince Lombardi left, and after the 59 season, Tom Landry left. So we were stuck with Allie Sherman. Good offensive mind, very good offensive mind, but maybe not such a great coach. He did take to the Giants to the 61, 62, and 63 championship, okay, but that was basically a team that was given to him, right? After 63 and guys started getting old and retiring and stuff like that, a lot of guys retired after the 63, 64 season. Giants started trading guys away. Oh, what's up, buddy? He never took them back to the playoffs, but he had success in his first 3 years, right? Jim Lee Howell had success in his first 3 years. Steve Owen had success in his first 3 years. All right, then after that, we had Alex Webster, from 69 to 73. He was not a very good coach. Nice guy, just not a very good coach. Then we had Bill Orange Parger from 74, 75 and half of 76. Then we had McVay for the other half of 76, 77, and 78. Right? They were not very successful. That's why they only lasted 2.5 seasons. Now you could talk about Perkins. Perkins was there 79, 80, 81, and 82. After 82, Alabama was calling him when he went back to college, where we got Bill Parcells. But Perkins, you could say he was successful because in his third season, once again, the Giants from 79, 80, 81, right? In his third season, the Giants went to the playoffs. But you can also look at it because they were so bad in 80, they had the second overall pick. And with the second overall pick in the 1981 NFL draft, we all know that the Giants took Lawrence Taylor. So quite possibly, if the Giants took another player out of Lawrence Taylor, the Giants probably wouldn't have gone to the playoffs in 81. It was pretty much due to the fact we drafted Lawrence Taylor. Then, of course, we had Bill Parcells. 83 was I think we had 3-12-1. Absolute disaster. But 84, he went to the playoffs. 85 went to the playoffs. 86, we went to the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. So he had success within his first 3 seasons, without a doubt. After he left in 90, we had Ray Handley. He lasted 2 seasons. Yeah. Then after that, we had Reeves. Reeves is a very successful coach. He was successful. He took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. He took the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl. Of course, they had John Elway. That kind of helps. But with Reeves, in his first season, he's a successful coach. He wasn't too successful with the Giants, but in his first season, Simms' last season, Lawrence Taylor's last season, 1993, we went to we almost won the division. We almost knocked off the Cowboys, who the defending Super Bowl champion Cowboys, for the division title. Of course, we lost that last game in overtime. Good game. That was the game that Emmitt Smith separated his shoulder. But, he was a successful coach, but he had, his first season, right? But he only lasted for 4. The next 3, we never made the playoffs, and, right, he was gone. Fossil took over, 97. What happened with him? First season. He's kind of a successful coach. First season, we went to the playoffs. Won a division, went to the playoffs. And, of course, in 2000, we went to the Super Bowl, right? Then, of course, in 2002, we went back to the playoffs. We should have beat the 49ers. We were beaten by 75,000 points with like 20 minutes left to go. One of the biggest absolute meltdowns of all freaking time Giants had against the 49ers. I don't even want to talk about it. But, once again, he had success early on. He took a Giant team to the Super Bowl, right? And he took us to the playoffs 3 times, right? After 2003, it was a horrible season. I believe we had a bunch of injuries, but he was let go. And then, of course, we have, Coughlin, 2004 was not very good. 2004 was a good gamble by him, right? Because we started 5-2 with Kurt Warner as our quarterback. We lost 2 tough games. I think they were both road games. I should know, but it was like the Lions, the Cardinals and the Lions. I think it was 2 like road games, and it were tough losses. So we went to 5-4, and he decided to pull the plug basically on the whole season. Pull out the whole future Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, insert Eli Manning. So we went from 5-4, we went to 5-10. And we finally won the final game of the season against Bill Parcells and the Dallas Cowboys. So we finished with a record of 6-10. But with Coughlin, right? Once again, another successful coach. 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 4 years in a row, right? He took us to the playoffs. Successful coach, had obviously once again, right? He had success early on. Not his first season. Tough to have a lot of success first season with a rookie quarterback, right? But we went from 6-10. I think we were 11-5. Went from 6-10 to 11-5 in 1 year. So Coughlin, successful, right? And of course, he was let go. Or whatever you want to call it, let go, retired, however you want to look at it, right? So, of course, you got 16 and 17, right? And then you had the McAdoo. I mean, I don't want to say, obviously, he was a successful coach. We went to the playoffs, but, I know Reese spent a lot of money, especially on the defensive side in the free agency. Brought an influx of a bunch of talent, just seemed to gel for that one season, right? That was the boat trip and all that stuff with OBJ and all of that stuff. And of course, we took a dumper in the playoffs against the Packers. So I don't want to say McAdoo was successful, because the following season we were just out of control, and he couldn't control it, and he got let go. Then Steve Spagnuolo finished the season. I think the final 4 games of the season, he was the interim coach. So not McAdoo, not successful. 18 and 19, we had Shermer, right? Not successful. What were we? 3 and 13. Oh no, 3 and 13 1 year and 4 and 12 the other, or something like that. I mean, it was just, no. We were 9 and 23, I think, with Shermer. So 1 year we won 4 games, 1 year we won 5 games. Not successful coach at all. So he lasted 2 seasons. Once again, then we had Judge, right? 2021, not successful at all. So you had McAdoo 2 years gone, Shermer 2 years gone, Judge 2 years gone. But that's another thing. One of the things that Mara, just keep churning. The GMs and the coaches over, and just he wants to give Daboll and Shane another year. I mean, we're start talking about these draft classes that the Giants had. All right. Especially like in this portion, a couple of minutes, you're going to be talking about obviously 2 guys in particular, how well they are. But, the Giants draft class this upcoming season, this past season, I'm sorry, phenomenal, really, especially if you go by what PFF, right? All the all rookie team and everything. So if we can duplicate that again with Shane, it's only going to help, right? But I said the one thing that Daboll had, right, is that with other successful coaches from the past, from the Giants, is that he's had success early on. And I said usually it's like Coughlin or Steve Owen or Parcells or whatever. Maybe the first year they struggle or so, whatever. But then it just trajectory it was going up. Somehow Daboll seemed to be going in the opposite direction, but he did have success early on, and unlike Owen, okay, unlike Coughlin, unlike Parcells, right? Daboll took this team, a salary cap strapped team, trash team, right? I mean, we had to get rid of Bradbury, and he went to the Eagles because they have no salary cap in Philadelphia. They just bring all these players in to make their team good, and they put all these void years on the end of the contract. So that's why he went to Philadelphia. But he took a team. We had no salary cap money. Couldn't even keep our own players. We had to let players go because we couldn't afford to keep them. And he took the team, took them to a playoff. Not only that, on the road, won a playoff game, right? That's something that, I'm not saying he's better than Coughlin. I'm not saying he's better than Steve Owen. I'm not saying he's better than blah, blah. Not saying that, okay? But he did do something that Owen, Coughlin, and Parcells did not do. In his first year with a bad team, no salary, right? He took us to the playoffs. Got to give him some credit there. And also a little kudos to Steve Owen, too. He has like 150 wins, guy from 1931 to 1953, 23 years as a Giants coach, a long time. And, of course, back then they only played 12 games a season. Had he, been played, if he coached from 31 to 53 and had 16 or 17 game seasons like they do now, I mean, he probably would have close to 200 victories. But he has 150. And quite possibly that might be the all-time winner, almost maybe bar none. Because you figure in this market, to be coach of the Giants, you'd have to coach for 15 years and average 10 wins a season. You'd have to be 10-7 for 15 straight seasons. I don't know if anybody in this day and age can do something like that. Now, of course, Coughlin kind of got nudged out. You know what I mean? So, could he have stayed around for another few years or so? Yeah, possibly, but I don't know if he ever would have reached 150. I said, it's just in today's day and all of that, 150 wins in this market where the morons who write the articles do nothing but talk bad about you, bring you down, nothing but negativity and all that stuff and everything. So it's pretty tough. So Steve Owen is, without question, he's one of the greatest Giant coaches of all time, without question. But the thing Daboll had, right, in common with other Giant successful coaches is he had success early on, right? So let's hope he can right this ship. But, he's got silly as his work cut out for him.